Brooks Koepka walked off the 18th green at TPC Craig Ranch with something to prove. The five-time major winner just shot in stunning 8-under par 63, leaving the world number one in his dust. But it was not the score that got everyone talking. It was what Koepka said afterward about the man chasing him, about Scottie Scheffler, about the group dynamic, about how comfortable he felt. And now the golf world is completely divided. Some fans say Koepka has finally found peace. Others say he is just kissing the ring. The debate is getting ugly. For more coverage in golf, subscribe and hit the notification bell. The controversy started on Thursday morning at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. Brooks Koepka and Scottie Scheffler were paired together for the first two rounds at TPC Craig Ranch in McKinney, Texas. It was a marquee grouping that had golf fans buzzing for weeks. The five-time major winner, fresh off his controversial return to the PGA Tour after 3.5 years on LIV Golf, was about to go head-to-head with the man who has dominated the sport like no one since Tiger Woods. The golf world expected tension. They expected awkwardness. They expected two rivals from opposite sides of golf's civil war to barely acknowledge each other. Instead, they got something completely unexpected. Koepka stormed out of the gates, going 3 under par after just 3 holes. He was locked in, he was focused, and he was having fun. By the time the round ended, Koepka had posted an 8 under par 63, leading the field after day one. Scheffler, meanwhile, carded a solid but unspectacular 5 under par 66. For most players, that would be a great start. For Scheffler, who won this tournament last year at 31 under par, 8 shots clear of the field, it felt like he was playing catch-up. But the real story was not the scores, it was what happened after the round. Koepka walked into the media center and was asked about the vibe in his group. His answer caught everyone off guard. "It was just a comfortable group as well," Koepka said. "Everyone is just kind of feeding off each other. Easy. Everyone's having fun. Makes it enjoyable." Comfortable? Having fun? This was supposed to be the clash of the titans, the PGA loyalist versus the LIV defector, the world number one versus the five-time major champion who walked away. And Koepka was describing it like a friendly round at the local country club. He went even further. "I felt comfortable on the golf course as well," he added. "Finally, I felt good with the putter. I felt good the last few days with it when I was working in my studio. Then when I got here, it felt very comfortable." The comments spread like wildfire. Within hours, every golf podcast, every YouTube channel, every sports news outlet was dissecting Koepka's words. Was he being genuine? Was this a calculated PR move to win over PGA Tour fans who still resent him for taking the LIV money? Or was Koepka simply being honest about something that nobody wanted to admit, that the war between the tours might not matter as much to the players as it does to the fans? Si-Woo Kim, the third member of the group, who also shot a 7 under par 64, echoed Koepka's sentiment. "Yeah, we had a good start. Always playing with Scottie is enjoyable, and then, especially, that's 2 of my favorite players. Yeah, it was a really good round we had." The group dynamic was clearly positive, and that, more than anything else, is what has fans so divided. To understand why Koepka's comments have sparked such intense debate, you have to go back to the beginning, way back, to January 2026, when Koepka's return to the PGA Tour was first announced. The decision to let him back through the returning member program was one of the most controversial moves in recent golf history. The penalties were severe. Koepka agreed to a $5 million charitable donation. He accepted a 5-year ban from competing for PGA Tour equity. He forfeited any FedEx Cup bonus money in 2026. He would have to earn his way into signature events through performance, not reputation. But even with those penalties, many players and fans were furious. They argued that Koepka had taken the LIV money, reportedly $100 million, and was now waltzing back onto the PGA Tour with minimal consequences. Wyndham Clark was reportedly among the players who opposed the decision. Others, including Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, welcomed Koepka back with open arms. "It's a win for everyone," Woods said. McIlroy said he was glad to have Koepka competing against the best again. And then there was Scottie Scheffler, the world #1, was asked about Koepka's return back in January. His reaction was characteristically measured and classy. Colt Knost, the former PGA Tour player turned analyst, revealed a text exchange he had with Scheffler shortly after Koepka's reinstatement became official. Knost said that when he asked Scheffler about Koepka, the world #1 responded, "I think it was a smart move." That was it. No drama, no outrage, no public declaration that Koepka should be punished more severely. Just a simple acknowledgement that another elite player was back in the mix. Scheffler elaborated on his feelings in a later interview. "I'm excited for Brooks," he said. "I'm glad that we were able to get him back on tour. He had a desire to come back on tour. I'm glad that Brian and the guys on our board were able to figure out a way for him to get back and start competing out here." He added that Koepka's return was good for the tour, especially in the long run, and that he loved competing against players of Koepka's caliber. This was not the response of a man who held a grudge. This was the response of a competitor who wants to beat the best. But some fans saw Scheffler's reaction differently. They accused him of being naive, of abandoning a player who had abandoned the tour when it needed loyalty most. Others praised his grace and sportsmanship. The debate over Koepka's return never really ended. It just went underground, and Koepka's latest comments have brought it roaring back to the surface. The comments that really got fans talking, however, were not about the group dynamic. They were about what Koepka said about Scheffler himself. And what he said might surprise you. Koepka has been singing Scheffler's praises for months. Back in January, before his return was even official, Koepka was asked about the challenge of competing against the world #1. His answer was startlingly honest. "I think the competitive side of me, you obviously want to do a little bit better, but that's going to be very tough to do better than Scottie right now," Koepka said. He went further. "Obviously, Scottie has been dominant, I guess is probably the right word. Rory's got 5 now. I don't think anybody's shocked by this if you've watched golf the last few years and how well those guys are playing. I'm excited to battle with them. I think that will be really fun." The reaction to those comments was swift and divided. Some fans appreciated Koepka's humility, noting that it takes a secure competitor to admit that someone else is better. Others saw it as Koepka surrendering before the battle even began. One fan called it pathetic that a 5-time major winner would bow down to anyone. But Koepka was not done. After his opening round 63 at the CJ Cup, he was asked again about playing alongside Scheffler. This time, his answer was even more revealing. He said that playing with Scheffler had helped him fall in love with the game again. He watched a lot of Scheffler, and it inspired him. That comment hit differently. This was not about competition anymore. This was about passion. Koepka, who had spent 3.5 years on LIV Golf, who had seen his game decline as travel kept him away from his family, who had been frustrated for at least a year before leaving LIV, was saying that playing alongside the world #1 reignited his love for golf. The fans were split. Some found the comment touching, a sign that Koepka had matured and found perspective. Others found it nauseating, accusing Koepka of trying too hard to win over PGA Tour fans who will never accept him. A few simply laughed, pointing out that Koepka shot a 63, while Scheffler shot a 66. If anything, Scheffler should have been the one taking notes. Scheffler himself was asked about Koepka's charge after his round. His response was classic Scheffler. "Yeah, I felt like I was getting lapped out there for a little bit," he admitted. He acknowledged that Koepka played great and that Siwoo Kim played really nicely as well. But then Scheffler added something that revealed his mindset. "I feel like sometimes in these tests, once you start getting behind, you can kind of start falling pretty far behind, and it can be difficult to catch up. It was nice to kind of stay in it." He wasn't panicking, he wasn't making excuses, he was simply recognizing the reality of the situation and adjusting his expectations accordingly. That, perhaps more than anything else, is why Scottie Scheffler is the world #1. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, he just keeps grinding. And Brooks Koepka, for all his talent in all his major championships, knows exactly who he is chasing. The divide among fans is not just about Koepka's comments, it is about the entire context of his return to the PGA Tour, and that context is messy. Koepka left the PGA Tour in 2022 for a signing bonus, reportedly over $100 million. He spent more than 3 years on LIV Golf, winning events and collecting massive checks. But by the end of his tenure, he was frustrated. The travel kept him away from his family. The competition was not the same. He wanted out. The PGA Tour's returning member program made his comeback possible, but the penalties were designed to sting. The $5 million charitable donation, the 5-year ban from equity, the forfeiture of FedEx Cup bonuses, the requirement to earn his way into signature events. Koepka accepted it all because, as he said, the penalty is significant, but I understand why they've done it. It hurts, but it's supposed to. But not everyone in the locker room is happy about it. Reports suggest that some players, including Wyndham Clark, have been critical of the decision to let Koepka back in. The argument is simple. These players stayed loyal to the PGA Tour when LIV was waving billions of dollars in their faces. They turned down life-changing money because they believed in the tour. And now, the players who took the money are being welcomed back with open arms. Koepka is aware of the resentment. He has said that he wants to have conversations with players one-on-one behind closed doors to address any lingering bad feelings. He knows he has work to do to rebuild relationships. The fans are just as divided as the players. In every comment section, on every golf forum, the same arguments play out. One side says, Koepka took the money, he made his bed, he should have to lie in it. He should not be allowed to just waltz back onto the PGA Tour as if nothing happened. The other side says, the civil war is over. Let the man play. He is one of the most exciting golfers in the world, and the sport is better when he is competing against the best. Koepka's comments about Scheffler have become a proxy for this larger debate. When he praises Scheffler, some fans see it as genuine respect. Others see it as a calculated attempt to ingratiate himself with the PGA Tour establishment. When he says he is having fun, some fans believe him. Others accuse him of putting on a show. The truth, as is often the case, is probably somewhere in the middle. Koepka is a competitor. He wants to win. He knows that the path to winning runs through Scottie Scheffler. Praising your biggest rival is not weakness, it is strategy. It's the same strategy that every great competitor has used throughout sports history. But Koepka also seems genuinely happier. He has talked about finding his happiness and love for the game again. After the Myrtle Beach Classic, where he shot a back nine 29, he said that everything was coming together. That happiness was on display at the CJ Cup, and whether you believe it is genuine or not, you cannot deny that Koepka is playing some of the best golf of his career.
So, where does all of this leave the golf world? Divided. And that division is not going away anytime soon. The CJ Cup Byron Nelson continues through the weekend. Koepka and Scheffler are both in contention. The golf world is watching every shot, waiting for the next comment, the next reaction, the next spark that could reignite the debate. What is clear is that the dynamic between these two players is fascinating. They have played together on 2 Ryder Cup teams, in 2021 and 2023. They have formed a camaraderie that transcends the LIV PGA divide. In 2023, Scheffler actually advocated for Koepka to be on the Ryder Cup team, saying that if Koepka had played one event on the PGA Tour, he would definitely be on the team. That is the part of the story that gets lost in the shouting. These are not enemies, they are competitors who respect each other. Scheffler wants to beat Koepka, Koepka wants to beat Scheffler, but neither wants the other to disappear. Koepka's comments about Scheffler helping him fall in love with the game again might be the most honest thing he has ever said. After years of frustration, after watching his game decline, after questioning whether he even wanted to compete anymore, being in the same group as the world #1 reminded him why he started playing golf in the first place. The fans who were angry at Koepka for taking the LIV money are not wrong to feel that way. Loyalty matters. Choices have consequences. But the fans who are excited to see Koepka back on the PGA Tour are not wrong either. He is an elite talent. The sport is more exciting when he is in the field. Maybe the answer is to stop choosing sides. Maybe the answer is to appreciate that we are watching 2 of the greatest golfers of their generation compete against each other at the highest level. Maybe the answer is to recognize that the civil war is over, that the players have moved on, and that the fans should too.
But that is not how sports fandom works. We need heroes and villains. We need someone to root for and someone to root against. And right now, the golf world has decided that Brooks Koepka is the villain. Whether he deserves that label is irrelevant. It has been assigned, and every comment he makes, every shot he hits, every smile he flashes will be interpreted through that lens. The CJ Cup is just one tournament. Koepka's return to the PGA Tour is a story that will unfold over years, not weeks. There will be more comments, more debates, more divisions, and through it all, Scottie Scheffler will keep doing what he does best, winning golf tournaments and letting his clubs do the talking. For more coverage in golf, subscribe and hit the notification bell.